This video is everything we've done to our homestead or property in 6 months. The 6 months have gone so fast and pretty slow at the same time. Pretty proud of what we've achieved. So I thought I'd put this video together that kind of highlights the projects we've done. I've tried to keep it in chronological order, but then also group the projects. This video has been really hard to put together. There was like nearly 9 hours of footage that I had to edit. It was a pretty big job. Just gonna play a little bit of the first episode, which is quite short, but kind of gives you a good lead up and a little bit more insight of how we've got to where we are right now. And then I'll show you everything we've done. All right, so we're one day out from actually moving from the Gold Coast to the country. Truck's here, it's moving day. Ew! We did it, we're here. What a mission. Right now it's like 4 days since we moved. So as you'll see throughout the whole video, clearing is a common thread and my dad has helped out a lot here. So this is really, really early on when we just moved into the property. Overgrown trees everywhere. There still is, but our first task was to really try and make a dent in especially the trees and branches around the house, particularly for snakes. This property had been let go for a number of years before we have moved in. So there was a lot of clearing to be done both around the house and out the back. You can see here, this was just like an eyesore of kind of dead but growing trees. And we wanted to make this area a really nice place for the kids to be able to run around. We'll get a playground, etc., and stuff out here. But you can see the difference of what a chainsaw can do. And then when the big machinery comes in, thank you to our mate Grant, just what some landscaping can do and really, really open up the space. So you can see that transformation is just incredible. We've got so much more flat, usable space out here and just made the place look a lot bigger. And then we got Grant to clear out some extra space around the water tanks and sheds here. Made a big difference. The biggest task and project so far has definitely been the driveway. You can see here when it was any type of rain, the place would just be a mess and a nightmare for people to access. This was definitely made in stages, so we would, every time we'd clear some trees, we'd just keep wanting to do more. And you can see here, there's stages of the driveway and grading it and getting it ready. But like all big jobs, there's always something that goes wrong, and we discovered our septic system was actually quite stuffed. So we got my good mate out, Jason Hackett, to help us, and it was actually a job well done. So here's when the driveway was more or less finished. You can see just an incredible difference that has made in opening up the space, but making the property a lot more practical and easy to get around and use. It's just an absolute dream now driving up, and you used to dread when it rains, but you can see it's made a huge difference. The veggie garden, my favourite project to date. One of the main reasons we moved out here was to obviously start growing our food, but you can see this original veggie garden, I couldn't even open the gate to get in there. It was so overgrown. We do have a lot of wallabies and hares, kangaroos, etc., that come in the property and that are populated around where we are. So it was really important to have it fenced off. You can see amongst the clearing, I found a pumpkin. I was pretty excited about that. It was a pretty big job just to get to this stage. I did have original plans just to do no dig and straight from ground level, but because of the slope, I think raised garden beds was a very good idea. But I'd never made them ever before. So, and this was a really big project. So you can see from building the beds to digging a hole. I'd never dug a hole in my life. This tool revolutionized digging holes. and putting posts in. I'd never put a post in. So for me to get these 4 massive beds out was a really big achievement for me. And I was really so excited to get to sowing my very first fruit and vegetables. I've never grown anything in my life. So this was a really, really exciting day. And I topped it off by getting some festoon lighting and just making the place area look a lot more bougie. So you can see with this transformation here, it is a pretty big difference, I think. Some good old festoon lighting. And now it's kind of full circle. You can see the veggie garden is thriving and just spilling out. I'm harvesting zucchinis, cucumber, tomatoes daily, blueberries. It's been such a great and fun experience. I really love gardening. The chicken coop, this comes in stages. When we first moved in, this was the original chicken coop. You can see wildly overgrown. This choco plant had taken over. You couldn't even see the fence line. It was so overgrown. There was no chance we're getting chickens in there. So you can see the inside was just absolutely kind of rotting away. So it was a big job to get the trees cut back. You can see it's swallowing the chicken coop here. So yet again, Dad come out and helped me out here. We had a lot of clearing to do. His dad fallen over again, but it quickly transformed into something really, really cool. You can start to see the fence line again. Unfortunately, we had to get rid of this choco vine, which is actually already grown back, but we had to remove this so we could actually get into it. Nearly chopped Dad's fingers off, and it was time to trip over myself and get into redoing the inside of the chicken coop. Luckily, there wasn't actually that much to do, and chickens are pretty non-fuss. So it was some nice flooring to go back in, and we rescued our first chickens. So we got some Isa Browns from a local farm that rescues them. And this was one of my highlights of moving here so far, is getting that first egg. What an incredible feeling. And after that, we went chicken mad and ended up getting 15 chickens. We're down to 11 at the moment, but these are our wine dots. And like I said, this is essentially stage 2 of the chicken coop. The chicken coop was more or less on really nice flat land up there, which I'll go in more detail before. But this paddock here is fully fenced. So I converted this old sheep shed into our now chicken coop, and it's just made the property a lot more functional. And you can see me making a roosting ladder here for the chickens, which they love. Common thread, a lot more clearing. We have 2 acres here and a bit over, and basically the whole fence line is overgrown like this. So we're chipping away at it when we can, but this has made a pretty big difference. This is on a concrete pad up on top of, you can see behind the house here, which has a really beautiful view. So this area we wanted to take back so we can enjoy and sit out here and have some lunch and coffees, and has made a really nice difference in just enjoying the place. You can see that a big difference here. So stage 3 of the chicken coop. So like I said, we're on sloped ground and this is flat area. This is right next to the house. So we didn't want the smell and the rats and the snakes and stuff coming into the chickens. We're turning this into more garden beds and some really nice seating areas. So we thought we should remove this and move the chickens to the front paddock. You can see it was a pretty big job. It was just myself demolishing this chicken coop, but it was pretty fun bashing out these things at the same time. I think it's made a really big difference just aesthetically as you walk out into the property off the back deck. You can now see it's all clear. I still need to get rid of a lot of debris and rubbish, but much better. So, moving into an older house, there's always going to be things that go wrong. So, before we were able to replace the carpet, I had to fix this leak in the one of the bedrooms. So, I removed the subflooring and replaced all of that, and turned out pretty good. We actually, when we moved into the property on our last visit, when it was still for sale, we discovered this secret room. We didn't realize until my wife, Jade, saw a wall hanging go inside of the wall and noticed, hey, there must be a hole there. So we've turned this space into a nook for the kids in their room. So you can see me stuffing up these 45 angles, which I'd never done before. I actually made the wrong cut 2 times in a row, which wasn't very fun. But this turned out really cool. It's now filled with a bunch of their toys. They've got cushions in there and they love it. So they play with their toys and Lego and all that sort of stuff. And we've got some cool lighting in here, which you'll see in a second that changes color, which they just absolutely love. It's a pretty cool addition to the house. Yes, of course, there's more clearing. And I love these kind of before and afters. Just love this. It doesn't cost much, but if you've got overgrown stuff on your property, the cheapest thing to make the biggest improvement is just clearing things. And I really love clearing things. It's a lot of hard work, but as you can see, again, this is another fence line that was completely overgrown, and we've gone through and just cleared it. You can see it just looks so much bigger. There's still a lot more work to be done. You can see up the top of the trees there, there's still some clearing. I'd love to get some of those machinery in, those forestry mulches to come through and knock all this stuff down. But we're just going to be chipping away over the years and seeing how much we can reclaim and make the property just look a lot nicer and neater. We do hope to plant a lot more fruit trees perhaps along this fence line as well. So they'll need a bit more light. So this was one of the first projects in moving the property. I knew I was going to be doing no dig, so I need a lot of compost moving forward. And in true fashion of homesteading, I've always tried to use whatever materials we have around the property. So all of this was just materials, the tin, the stakes, the pallets, and the wire have all been sourced from the property and left over. So you can see we've just made them from some pallets and some tin, and they've actually been really, really practical. They're all full up now and breaking down. So hopefully in a couple more months we'll have some nice, fresh, beautiful compost we can start adding to our garden beds. Now this is an exciting one. I have much more to come. There's some more videos coming, but we have got some bees on our property. We bought 3 beehives and actually reduced down to one. We sold 2 off and probably we'll get one more at least. We have a lot of honey. We consume a lot of honey. So bees and just having them as pollinators around the property is really, really important to us. And we think it's important to everyone. Now, around this concrete pad, there's this really nice retaining wall with a garden area. So we thought it's the perfect place to start a herb garden. It's nice and close to the house, as you can see there. So I started with putting cardboard down, so stopping any of those weeds coming through because it was, as you could see, quite overgrown, and getting some really nice soil, fresh soil, and compost down, and making a nice area for the kids slide they can still step on. And actually our puppy goes down that probably more than the kids now, and it's actually made the place a lot nicer to sit up around there. So you can see I've got some tomatoes, oregano, some basil, we've got mint, some lemongrass, and then this one here is Australian native rice flower. Now we welcome Buddy, who is our new puppy that we've brought on to the property. He is a purebred Border Collie. He's been just an incredible addition to the homestead, just bringing a lot of joy and a bundle of energy, as you can see. He loves stalking the chickens and pretending like he's herding them up. He's just a little bit cute too. Been really, really cool for the kids as well. Just good to play around with and just to have around. This is our other dog, Bailey. She's not very impressed with having a new addition like Buddy to the property. You can see the driveway was back to the original. There's no fencing here. And having Buddy on the property, we needed a space where we could have him and didn't need to chain him up. Obviously, horrible chaining a dog up all day. We don't want that. So now he has his own area and fenced off paddock that he can run around. But this was basically purely my dad. Yet again, the legend flew up to help us out. He is a pro fencer, and you can see he built 3 gates. He done all the posts. He did all the rails, and just an absolute legend, and really appreciative of him helping us out so much. You can see I was unfortunately tasked the job of painting in between my meetings for work. We're just getting some chicken wire in here, so obviously Buddy can't get in or out, and then neither can anything else. So Dad did all the rails, all the gates. You can see him probably regretting coming up here at this stage. Nearly finished. So the afternoon before he was leaving, we got another timber delivery. He just ran out of timber to build a gate. Because of the slope of our land here, we had to try and build it like in situ. So to work out the angles, etc. It was a bit of a mind game, but we got there in the end. And you can see here the results turned out pretty cool. And we added some extra panels there. And I think Dad has done a great job. We need to fix up some posts, but more or less that's done. So after Dad left, I fixed up the remaining, just the rails for this fence. You can see me putting the rails in and then painting it all black and just making it look seamless. It kind of disappears.
If you made it this far, you've got to the last transformation, the last project, you're up to speed. Heaps more to go. It's only been 6 months, but big thank you to Dad, of course, which he basically did all of this. You can see the before we just showed, and now we've got this beautiful fence, which of course is great for Buddy. Just makes the property look a lot more finished. We've got our gate. Just one job I need to do with the fence, and that's putting a stay on this post. The gate and the fence are just completed.